So this is a playlist of 9 levels that were chosen to show a lot of the cool different things that people have come up with that you can do in Mario Maker. So this first level was made by me. And it is a very fast-paced new Super Mario Bros. Speedrun. So we use this bomb to destroy all of those enemies, and then when the bomb blows up, it actually activates a power block. For a lot of this, there's probably too much going on to describe everything, so just sit back and enjoy the show. I actually made this level. I tried to use a lot of different power-ups, because you can do a lot of really interesting things with all of the different power-ups. So even the propeller that normally moves slowly, you can still use the springs to kind of push Mario around and do a lot of cool tricks with it. So in this section, we're going to do a trick where you can still achieve a triple jump even while changing directions. As long as you change directions very fast, you're still able to get off a triple jump, and the spin jump can actually go through extremely precarious situations as well. So we put on a helmet in Mario's head, and the helmet can actually be used to ricochet a shell like this. And then we're going to switch back to a fireball power-up, shoot fireballs in both directions using the spin jump in order to blow up those bombs and get through to the next section. This last section is going to show off some cool things that you can do stopping your momentum and using different wall jumps, once I don't die. So if you do a ground pound in the new Super Mario Bros. Scheme, it will immediately make your momentum stop, and this allows you to turn around really quickly. So we're going to do a ground pound right there in order to get back onto that wall and use it to wall jump off. So then we're going to pick up Yoshi, who has a very long tongue in new Super Mario Bros. The POW is going to knock the spiny enemies down, and then we can use those to crush through these blocks here. Finally, we're going to abandon our good friend Yoshi, and we have to do a ground pound cancel just before the door there. For this final section, Mario can actually gain a little bit of extra height by doing a ground pound at the peak of his jump, so we're going to use that to escape the chomp and beat the level. Even though this level looks pretty ridiculous the first time you see it, all of the setups in the level were designed to be extremely consistent, so we can beat the level actually basically every try. So this next level is going to be in the Super Mario World theme, and it's going to show off a lot of the cool different item interactions that people have discovered in Mario Maker. So a lot of the time in this level, you're going to see one item being used and then triggering another item. So that shell hits a block which had the wiggler in it, and Mario's walking on top of these music blocks. Music blocks and question mark blocks can both have items in them. And all the while, we're doing a bunch of really cool item abuse style tricks. So a lot of the time, we're going to use shells as kind of platforms when there's no other place to land other than on the shell that you're bringing with you. The wiggler that we released in this previous section is going to then release a shell that we can spin jump on over here. We're then going to do a tricky jump off of that P-switch and release another shell. The shell is going to fall down into a series of different springs that kind of knock it around just in the right place for us to land on, finally finishing with a very long double shell jump. In the final bit here, we're going to be hitting that block in the top right because that activates a P-switch that's going to set up all the other platforms in the level. So for this section, we're actually going to take one shell and throw it up into the air, and then while that shell's in the air, do a shell jump and catch it midair to use it to do another shell jump. So we're going to throw this spring to the right, which releases a shell, and then with Yoshi, we're going to spit a spring into that shell to knock it over to use as a platform, and finally do one last backwards ricocheting shell jump to beat the level. So this is a very cool level by the very talented level maker Guitar, who has come up with all sorts of elaborate ways to get items to interact with each other to create all sorts of cool tricks. The next level will actually be taking us to Super Mario Bros. 1, using some very interesting power-ups that are unique to Mario Maker. So first off, we're going to get the Weird Mushroom, which turns us into Lanky Mario. Now, Lanky Mario can jump a lot higher than normal Mario can. He also has a slightly changed hitbox as well, so we're going to be able to do all of these really, really high-looking jumps. So for whatever reason, when an enemy first comes out of a music block, it can't damage you, so we're going to actually bounce off of the Goomba, even though it kind of hits us. So it's important to note, in Super Mario Bros. 1, you can't pick up any items, however you can still knock them through the air. So people have come up with these cool setups to still kick around bombs and use them like we just did to collect that key, even though Mario can't actually pick them up. Now we're going to switch to using Giant Mario. When Giant Mario hits a bomb, the bomb goes sliding along the floor, and you can use this as a platform to continuously move Mario along. Also using the bomb's property of being able to smash through enemies or collect coins at the same time. So we're going to do a mid-air bomb jump with Giant Mario, use this bomb as a platform to precariously escape all of those flames, and then finally do a big long bomb slide at the end here, with the bomb collecting a red coin at the very end to have the final red coin to get through the door. Big Mario can also smash through certain types of blocks, so you would not be able to beat that section unless you kept your Big Mario power-up the entire time. It's a really cool creative level that shows off a lot of the things that Mario Maker can do that you just can't do in regular Mario games. So speaking of power-ups, the next level coming up was a level that I made to show off a lot of the different cool tricks that you can do with the cape power-up in Super Mario World. So in order for Mario to take off with the cape, he has to achieve P-Speed. So the first thing we're going to do here, besides juggling a bunch of shells, is acquire P-Speed, and then we're going to grab the cape power-up, and then it lets us take off, flying away. So we're going to quickly do a dive bomb and smash through this bomb because you're invulnerable with the cape. And then we're going to use cape dives to clear these munchers because cape dive bombs are one of the only things that can destroy munchers besides POWs. Using the invulnerability of the cape allows us to pass through enemies and do all sorts of cool things. So in this next section, it's not possible to initiate a spin fly while you're holding an item. So I actually have to kick the bomb and then start the spin fly. I messed it up there, but fortunately it was just after the checkpoint, so it's very easy to restart and try again. So then I'm going to actually use the bomb to slide across the ground because I needed to blow up that POW block at the end. Then we're going to quickly put on a spike helmet in order to get through this section, do a ground pound to clear that muncher, and then bounce off of this shell. So for this next section, we're going to do a series of fast-paced dive bombs that are all going to end with us doing a ground pound to kill this muncher. Interestingly, we can also do a ground pound off of an enemy's back as long as you have invulnerability frames at the time. So then we're going to kick this bomb over to blow up those blocks and let us in the pipe to get to the checkpoint. For this last section, we're going to do a trick called a spin drop that kicks the shell at a very awkward angle. It's actually a very precise trick. And follow those fireballs. Those fireballs are actually going to go all the way across these series of platforms in order to blow up that bomb to let us through. At the end here, we are finally going to attempt to juggle Bowser with a spike helmet. I didn't get it this time because it can be a little tricky to get Bowser to always line up on your head because he always moves at the same rate as he bounces off of your helmet. However, Mario can move at many different speeds, so you have to kind of match your speed to the speed that Bowser's moving at. But fortunately, you can kind of adjust it a little bit based on your height. If you wait longer to hit Bowser, then he'll kind of catch up to you a little bit. So we need Bowser because he's the only way to activate that P-switch, which allows us to get through this P-door in order to beat the level. This is just a fun little section at the end that abuses the sprite limit a little bit in Mario Maker. They try to limit you from spawning so many sprites, but there are ways around it using question mark blocks hit in rapid succession. Overall, the cape power-up is changed quite a lot from the original Super Mario World cape, but it has a lot of interesting properties that allow you to do things that you can't do in the original Super Mario World, which is kind of cool. So this next level was made by a very talented Japanese level creator, and this is another Super Mario Bros. 1 level, and this one is going to show off a lot of the interesting things that you can still do in Super Mario Bros. 1, despite the fact that it tends to be the most limited of all of the game types, because you can't pick up items, you can't spin jump, you can't wall jump, you can't do any of that stuff. However, you can still have a lot of unique interactions. You can also do a lot of weird stuff with the boot as well. So we're going to be jumping in and out of this boot because there's actually hidden blocks that would prevent you from going down to that section. And Mario can also shoot fireballs while he's in the boot. So we're going to be like flying around with this wing boot and shooting fireballs. So for this part, we're going to be slowly letting this shell get through here by bonking it up with the question mark blocks that then knock it forward. This next section is a really cool setup. It looks crazy, but it's actually surprisingly consistent to be able to just kind of fall off screen as that shell comes and saves you. So just a quick, short and sweet level that shows off some of the cool tricks that you can still do, even if you can't pick anything up or use a whole lot of items. The Japanese community has come up with some of the coolest tricks in Mario Maker, so it's great to be able to show off some of them here. So this next level is going to be the first time showing off Super Mario Bros. 3. And this level is going to be showing off a lot of the classic item abuse style tricks. So an interesting way to force players to collect certain things is by putting keys in them. So they put a key in that question mark block, so you have to throw that shell in a particular way in order to hit it. The boot can actually land on a lot of different enemies like ghosts and piranhas. And the level creator has made all of these sort of cool like boot retrieval systems that allow you to keep reusing the same boot. Then we're going to do a bunch of standard shell tricks using Mario's body to knock shells in all sorts of different ways in order to land on them. So once again, we're going to see this boot that we hit at the start go along the bottom on a conveyor and come back to us when it's appropriate. But you can see that there's actually hidden blocks down here, so that if Mario were to ever go down into that lower section, he would not be able to get back out. So that's why it's important to stay above that line. And one thing I'll say about this type of level and level design is that it's extremely fun to play. You'll notice there are actually indicators all over the place that kind of tell you where to go. The little guide is showing you Mario's trajectory. And these types of things are one of the coolest parts of the Mario Maker Kaizo community that enjoys making these hard levels, but also enjoys making them in a way that's as friendly as possible for players to learn the levels to play them themselves. So I think more than anything, this level shows off what an amazing community of level designers this game has, where we have weekly races and events to play through all of these cool levels that people are constantly making. With just a few simple items like shells and springs, you can make a near limitless number of different setups. Even though Mario Maker has been out for as long as it's been out, a week doesn't go by where we don't see somebody using the same items in a new way, which is just, I think, one of the really cool aspects of the Mario Maker community. Finally, at the end here, showing how you can combine tricks in a really cool way. We're actually going to release a flying bomb and do a shell jump at the same time. That flying bomb then moves into position, blows up a POW, and the POW releases a launcher, allowing us to go through the final key door. Of course, you definitely don't want to die at the end, or it's all over. It's always fun watching people play these levels for the first time when they get tripped up by the trick at the very end. It's kind of a trope in the Mario Maker Kaiser community to put that right when you think you're done, to give you that last little scare at the very end. So this next level is definitely one of my favorites. This has to be one of the coolest themed levels I've ever played. So in this level, we're going to be delivering pizza. Quickly at the beginning here, here's the oven, and out comes the pizza. The pizza goes flying out of the oven, and we're going to actually, that's the shell, and we're going to actually keep reusing that shell over and over and over again. So if you can see, while Mario's doing all this crazy platforming, the shell is actually being continuously delivered back and forth to Mario. So Mario has to deliver this pizza all the way through this entire speedrun level. So here comes the shell again. We're gonna grab it and get through the door with that piping hot pizza. Let's go. But wait, a thief approaches to try to steal our pizza. So Bowser Jr. makes an appearance, and we're going to have to continuously knock him out of our way. So we hit him and the shell goes through him because we hit him. We keep landing on the shell, and then we gotta go back for it. He's coming for it. We got it. So the shell's actually gonna go along the bottom, if you can see that. The level shows off a lot of the cool tricks you can do with the air twirl, by the way, allowing you to get over a lot of different sections that you normally wouldn't be able to make unless you use an air twirl. So the pizza is still with us, and we've got it again. But Bowser Jr. is hot on our tail. So we have to hit Bowser Jr. one more time to finally kill him. There we go. And make our way safely out of here with our piping hot pizza. And now the delivery is almost complete. There's a very hungry mole waiting for his pizza, and there he goes. He finally had one pizza too many. That is a very interesting take on a new Super Mario Bros. Level. No game would be complete without a level based on our wonderful green friend, Yoshi. So this was a level that I made for a tournament called Kaizo Wars, and we're going to do all sorts of crazy tricks with Yoshi. We're going to spit shells out with Yoshi, use his ability to bounce off of things, to run on spikes, and we're going to just straight up dump Yoshis in the lava. Sorry, Yoshi. So for this section, we're trying to line up the bomb dropping out of the pipe with shooting a fireball with Yoshi. If we hit it midair, we can catch the bomb and then use it to break through this section, to get through the pipe, to get over here to this checkpoint. An interesting thing about Yoshi in this game is he can spit items very fast, so this shell is going to move much faster than it would ever be able to move if Yoshi hadn't hit it. And then you can just do all sorts of crazy stuff with Yoshi. So Yoshi can get a lot of momentum bouncing off of saws. He can even bounce off of bombs, kind of like we saw with Giant Mario in Super Mario Bros. 1. And he can even do good old-fashioned shell jumps. And we can even drop him in the lava for all of his hard work. I'm sorry, Yoshi. I don't know why you bothered saving the baby back in Yoshi's Island anyway. So for this final trick, we're going to spit the spring against the wall, and it's going to ricochet us back to transfer some of its momentum. And then we're going to try to do one of the hardest tricks in Mario Maker called the mid-air shell jump. To execute a mid-air shell jump, Mario actually throws the shell backwards, but on the next frame presses forward, and the shell instead goes right under Mario's feet, allowing him to bounce off of it in mid-air. That's the name, the mid-air shell jump. And that is some of the cool things that Yoshi can do. So even though Yoshi can't throw eggs like he could in Yoshi's Island, he can still do lots of really cool stuff. Coming up next, we're going to go back to where we all began in Super Mario Bros. 1. However, this is not going to look anything like a Super Mario Bros. 1 level that you have ever seen before. So one of the first things you're going to notice in this level, besides having this really cool gray aesthetic going on the entire time, is we're actually going to be revisiting the same parts of the level. So while many of the Mario Maker levels that we've shown off tend to be very linear, this level is actually going to go back and forth through the same areas, but with different things happening. So this is actually back at the beginning of the level. However, a new path has been opened to access this key door below. I really love the aesthetics in this level because the level creator has really gone out of their way to make every part of this level look like some kind of a really cool factory or fortress, using a lot of elements for aesthetics that you wouldn't normally think of, like these line guides. So I think that they did a really creative job, not just in level design, but also just in designing the aesthetic of the level. In this section, we're going to bounce these shells back and forth in a very specific way that allows us to wear one of them, but use the other one to escape. And then we're going to jump through this section in such a way where you have to kind of take this convoluted path back and forth through it, but everything is necessary in order to run these shells along the bottom that you need as a platform in order to escape the very end. Also notice you have to reach the door right when the P-switch timer runs out, or that section won't work. So for this section, section, we're going to kick a shell off the bottom, but then travel along the top. The shell is going to line up just right for us to get through right there. We're going to do this kind of reverse here to wait for that shell and proceed to the final area of the level. So in this next section, a series of bombs and off-screen items are going to slowly start entering the screen that are going to change the terrain. So we're going to, again, continue to move through the same area, but each time we move through it, something will be different. So the Peace Witch activated those coins, and then all these bombs are destroying the terrain. So the little mess up right there, by the way, goes to show how a lot of these sections, one small mistake, you are absolutely dead. So an interesting part of this section is to just try to keep track of what all of the different shells are doing. We only have 2 shells that we're going to hit here, but one of the shells is going to continuously be activating all sorts of different things. Meanwhile, the other one is also providing a platform for us to stand on. Finally, have you ever wondered what it would be like if a speedrunner could have designed the original Super Mario Bros. 1 boss fight? Check this out. So Bowser is going to be hit by all of these shells continuously while speedrunning through this section. So each one of these shells is going to do 1 point of damage to Bowser, and after he has taken a total of 10 hits, he will die, and we will be able to beat this section. So we've got the final hit coming up here, and boom! Goodbye, King Koopa. Now that is a Bowser fight! And that is the end of the level, end of this showcase. Hope you enjoyed this. This is just showing off some of the cool stuff that you can do with hard but consistent levels in Mario Maker. Hope you enjoyed.